Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel. Today we're going to be going over Google Ads audience targeting. So I'm going to be going over audience targeting in search campaigns, display campaigns, and video campaigns, how to create some different audiences, how to manage different audiences, and the different audiences that you can target within each campaign. So first things first, we open up the support Google help page here about audience targeting. I'll put this URL in the video description so you can find it, but they're going to show all the different audience types that you can actually target in these different campaign types. So if you look at display campaigns, you can target almost everything. So affinity, custom intent, in market, remarketing, and similar audiences. In search campaigns, you're the most limited. You can only target in market audiences, remarketing audiences, customer match audiences, and similar audiences. And in video, you can target pretty much everything. So video is really the most wide open. You can target affinity, custom intent, life events, in market, remarketing, customer match, and similar audiences. So I'm going to go over all these different audience types, how to create them, how to manage them, and how to add them to your campaigns. Now, the one thing I'm going to show you before we get started is when we come into our Google Ads account here, so we're in our Surfside PPC Google Ads account, what we can do is click on Tools up here in the top corner, and under Shared Library, you can go to Audience Manager. So this is where you can manage a lot of your different audiences. So we have some YouTube audiences here based on our channel. We have some website visitor audiences. There's combined lists here. We have some similar audiences. So similar audiences are automatically created by Google Ads. So as you start creating different audiences, especially based on your website visitors, they're going to start creating similar audiences that are going to show up here in your Audience Manager. And then when you're creating campaigns and targeting audiences, you can see them there as well. Now, if you want to see more about the Audience Manager, we actually did a tutorial a couple years ago now, or maybe a year and a half ago, but we went over the Audience Manager, how to manage some of these different audiences. So this might be useful for you if you want to get a little bit more in-depth information as well, or just additional information to go along with what we're going to say in this video. So you can find some of those examples on this video. I'll put this in the video description as well. And then a couple other things. So we just did our Google Display Ads tutorial for 2019. We went over different audience targeting in this video tutorial as we set up a campaign. So you might be interested in this if you haven't watched it already, and our YouTube ads tutorial as well. So we went over that pretty in detail about halfway through the video of our YouTube ads tutorial. So if you're looking for a little bit more information about setting up campaigns and targeting different audiences, you might want to watch those videos as well. Just some additional information for you. So coming back here to Audience Manager, this is where you can manage pretty much everything. So you can see all your different remarketing audiences here. If you click on the plus arrow, you can see there's website visitors, so you can use people who have visited your website here. So I'm going to show you this a little bit later in the video. You could do app users. So I don't have a mobile app. This is something I wanted to get more into with some of my tutorials, is how to incorporate your mobile app with your advertising. But if you have a mobile app, you can connect it to your Google Ads account. It's very easy to do. And then anybody who's downloaded your mobile app, you can actually target them in your campaigns as well. So YouTube users, so this is what we did. So when you come into tools and you go to linked accounts, you want to make sure you link your Google Analytics account and your YouTube account to your Google Ads account. So if you have them all set up under the same email, it's very easy to link the accounts. You just basically set up the link, and then once you have everything linked, you're able to easily come in here to the Audience Manager, click on this plus arrow, and create YouTube users lists. You can also do customer lists. So for example, if you have a MailChimp email list, you can download that CSV file and just upload it right to Google Ads, and then you can target that. Now, the one thing is they recently limited this, so I'm pretty sure you have to spend at least $50,000 in your account before you're allowed to actually target customer lists. So they've made it a little bit more difficult to target customer lists. I'm sure it has something to do with legal issues or something along those lines. I'm not really sure exactly why they did that, but I know that they recently changed that. So you used to be able to target your customer list really easily. Actually, in our old Audience Manager video, we uploaded a customer match list and actually targeted it in a campaign to show you how to do that. So just some different options you have there. Now when it comes to setting up audience targeting for your campaigns, what we're going to do is open our Surfside PPC account here. So we have a video campaign running right here. So if you click on your campaign, it's going to pull up your different ad groups. So you can see we're targeting some in-market audiences already. If you click to create a new ad group, so it's going to say ad group name, so you can name your ad group, and then you can see, so I'm just going to focus on the top here on people. I'm not going to focus on content, but these are other things you can set up with your targeting as well. But what you can do is actually use demographics and audiences, so you can layer those targeting together. So you can say, okay, the people that are going to be the most interested in my products and services are going to be a specific gender within a specific age group. Maybe they are parents, maybe they're not parents, maybe it doesn't really matter. And then household income, you could also say, okay, I'm selling luxury real estate, for example. So the only people that are generally going to buy this are people that are in the top 10% of household income. So you can layer in all those different demographics into your campaigns along with your audience targeting. So you definitely want to do that. I'll show you a little bit more about that later in the video. Now, audiences here, you can see with video campaigns, you pretty much have an option for everything. And once you have a little bit of historical data, Google is going to have this ideas tab here. So if you click on the ideas tab, they're going to pull in some of the best audiences based on advertisers like you. So search engine optimization and search engine marketing services. So this is an in-market audience. Advertising and marketing services, another in-market. Web design and development, in-market. CRM solutions. So these are all really related to some of the things that I'm promoting in my Google Ads account. But what I want to show you is you want to come to browse here. So if you come to browse, you can see all these different options. And I've kind of gone over this in past videos, but usually I look at all these audiences from bottom to top in terms of how well they're going to perform. So remarketing and similar audiences, in-market life events, and custom intent. These two bottom categories are generally going to drive you the most sales and leads for your business. Now, as you get more to the top with affinity and custom affinity audiences and detailed demographics, it's going to be much more broad, so you're not going to be able to drive as many sales and leads within your budget. So just something to keep in mind. Now, if you come to search here, you can search something and they're going to pull up the best audiences based on whatever it is you search. So let's just say, for example, I'm trying to advertise some golf clubs to people. So I click on golf. What it's going to do is pull up all these different audiences related to golf. So it has affinity audiences here. As we scroll down, there's some more in-market audiences. Now they'll even pull up things like people who golf generally drive BMWs, maybe people who golf are generally into winter sports equipment and accessories. So you can see there's a lot of different options. And then of course they have an in-market audience for golf equipment. So you can easily find whatever it is you're trying to advertise. Just go to the search bar, search whatever it is you're advertising, your products, your services, and they're going to pull up the best audiences for you. Now if we come back to browse here, under remarketing and similar audiences, it'll pull in some of these different audiences I showed. So when we were going through this manager here, you can see there's all these different options. So if I come in here, you can see if I click on similar audiences, they have some different options. They're not showing the total people in these audiences, but I can still target them if I want. So then there's combine lists. So any combined lists you have, you can combine website visitors lists. You can do a lot of different options with that. So you can do website visitors. So I can say anybody who's visited my website. I can say anybody who's visited specific pages on my website and then target them with advertisements. And then YouTube users, you can create different YouTube audiences. I can do people who have recently subscribed, all of my subscribers, anybody who's watched a video on my channel within a certain time period. So a lot of different options when it comes to video campaigns. Now what I want to do is I'm going to open up our farmhouse goals account here. So we went over our Google Ads tutorial with farmhouse goals. So we have our audience manager open here. So you can see some different options that we have. So it's very small compared to all the other ones. You can see we have an all users audience, and then another option is a converted audience. So my preference when I'm setting up remarketing audiences, especially for website visitors, is to link my Google Analytics account to my Google Ads account and then publish audiences from Google Analytics to Google Ads. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So again, the first thing you want to do is go to Tools. Under Linked Accounts, you can click on Google Analytics and easily link your Google Analytics account. We went over that in our Google Ads tutorial if you haven't watched that yet. So now if you come to Analytics, you could just make sure under Product Linking, if you click on Google Ads Linking, it should show your account here. So this is our Google Ads account that I was just showing you. So if we click on back, we know that our accounts are linked. What we can do is under property, we have our farmhouse goals property open. We can click on audience definition and go to audiences. So it's going to show some of the audiences we've created already. One of them is all users. That's anybody who's visited our website within a certain time period. We have a converted audience. So we've taken our 2 conversions, and anybody who has completed those conversions are going to be part of our converted audience. So we could either target these people with advertisements or actually try to exclude them from some of our campaigns. So I'll show you how to do that. So farmhouse syncs, so we have page contains, and anybody who's visited a page related to farmhouse syncs, so we can create a huge audience with a bunch of different pages there. And then we have a smart list, so this is a Google managed audience, so it's automatically created just based on our conversion data. Google's going to pull the people that are going to be the most likely to convert on our website just based on all the data they have. Now what you can do is click on new audience here. So you have a lot of different options here. You can click on create new, import segment. So those are some different options at the top. You can do users who have completed a transaction. So let's just say you have a Shopify website, someone completes a transaction on your website. You can create a separate audience for that. Users who completed a goal conversion. So I just showed you that in the previous step. Users who have visited a specific section. So if I click on that, it's going to say page contains. So now it's going to show this is pretty much page contains, and it's going to be anybody who's visited your website. So what you can do here is come here and it's going to pull a big drop down. So I could say anybody who's visited my farmhouse mirrors page, click on apply, name my audience farmhouse mirrors, and then I can start targeting them with mirrors if they haven't converted yet. So just some different options you have. Now it's really easy to create audiences and publish them to Google Ads. So if I just click on cancel here real quick, I'm going to come to new audience. So let's say I want to target returning users. So I click on returning users. So it's going to say 31 users over the last 7 days. We'll do a 30-day membership, and audience name, I'll just do returning users. And then I can click on next step. And then it's going to say add destination. So this is where you publish it to your Google Ads account, and then you also keep it in Google Analytics. And this audience is automatically going to stay updated both in Google Analytics and Google Ads. As even more returning users get added to the audience, it'll always be updated. So now all I need to do is click on publish. So it's going to say your audience was successfully created. If you click on target in a campaign, it's going to bring you to Google Ads so you can create a new campaign. But now we have a completely new audience set up. So it's very easy to manage all of your audiences using Google Analytics. And this audience will now pop into our audience manager once we refresh this page. But what I want to do is come over to Farmhouse Goals real quick and just show you something with search campaigns. So if we go to search campaign, so we have a bunch of different ad groups here. We have 6 total ad groups. So you have a couple different options when you're targeting audiences in search campaigns. You can either add your audiences to the campaign level. So if I click on audience here, what you want to do is set it as observation for search campaigns, because with observation, what it does is it says, okay, we want to keep our regular keyword targeting that we're already doing, but what we want to do is also target these different audiences and either bid higher or lower on these audiences when someone actually searches our keywords that are in, let's say, all users, for example. So if anybody from all users does search my keywords, then I want to target them, and let's say I want to click on save. And I want to increase, so this is bid adjustment. So what I want to do is increase bids by 10% when anyone in this audience searches my keywords. So it's that simple, and you're going to see observation here. If you set this up as targeting setting, just targeting, all it's going to target is the people in this all users audience. So it doesn't matter if anybody searches these keywords, because if it's anybody outside of this audience, my campaign will not show ads to them. So that's why you want to set it as observation. You can keep this as bid adjustment nothing for now and just see the statistics for this specific audience and see how they perform. And if you find that the conversion rate is higher, the cost per conversion is better than your average results for your campaign, then you can bid higher. If you find it's exactly the same, you could just leave your bid adjustment at 0. If you find it's worse, which it's generally not, because there's people that are interested in your products and services, if you find that it's worse, you can actually just come here and decrease your bids by 10%, 20%, whatever you want to do. So we're going to click on cancel here. Okay, so the next thing I want to show is that in addition to targeting audiences, you can also exclude audiences altogether from your campaign. So we opened up our display campaign here, and in our ad group, we're targeting a custom intent audience. So maybe what we want to do is come to exclusions up at the top here, go to audience exclusions, and what you can do is exclude audiences from your campaign altogether. If you come to browse here, you can see you can exclude a lot of different audiences. I generally focus on excluding remarketing audiences. So what I can do is come to remarketing audiences, website visitors, and maybe for this display campaign, I want to reach completely new people, people who haven't visited my website before. Or the other thing you can do is if you're already running a remarketing campaign with Google Ads, so maybe you're running a Google Display Ads remarketing campaign, you don't want to show your ads from this campaign to those people from the other campaign. So you could just exclude your all users, website visitors audience from this campaign altogether, so that way you're not kind of having any overlap with who's seeing your advertisements. And it really depends on what your goals are again on your website, but you can exclude your converted audience. So if someone's already converted, I do this a lot with server-side PPC. So when I'm running campaigns, I generally am running campaigns to try to get people to sign up for my newsletter. newsletter. So if you're already signed up for my newsletter, there's no reason for you to continue to see my search ads. Now, if I'm trying to just gain new YouTube subscribers or something like that, I might want to target my converted audience to make sure that people are subscribed to my YouTube channel and people are also on my email list. So there's different things you can do when it comes to audience exclusions. You can also exclude them from your search campaigns. So it's the same thing as targeting audiences, except you go to the exclusions tab at the top, just click on save. And now, as simple as that, from the display campaign, the converted audience is completely excluded. So now anybody who has converted is no longer going to see my ads. So now I'm going to remove all these audiences. So as we come into our next example. Okay, so right now we are targeting no audiences in this campaign. So the other option you have is to target audiences at the ad group level. So if we click here, for example, farmhouse copper sinks. So what I can do is click on add audience, keep it as observation for search campaigns, and I can use this farmhouse sinks audience, click on save. This one might be too small for search campaigns as well. So yeah, you need at least 1,000 active members. But let's just say I get to 1,000 active members. Anybody who's visited my sinks pages and they continue to search for farmhouse sinks, what I want to do is increase my bid, so we'll increase it by 25%. So it's going to say a $10 bid will become $12.50, and we'll click on save. Now, the best practice here is to get some data from your campaign, see how this audience performs for these specific keywords, and then you can adjust your bid accordingly to make sure that you have basically the best bids to get the most out of your budget. So just some different options with targeting audiences for search campaigns. Now, the last thing I want to go over is how to create custom intent audiences and how to create custom affinity audiences. So we're going to come back to Audience Manager here. So we have all of our remarketing audiences set up right now. You can see all of them. So under here, under custom audiences, you have a couple different options where you can create either custom affinity or custom intent audiences. So if I click on custom affinity, you can name your audience, set a description, and you have 4 different options for how to define your audience. So interests, URL, place, and app. So basically what you're doing is you're picking different interests, different URLs, different places, or different apps that an average audience would be interested in that you want to target. With affinity audiences, they're going to be much more broad. So if I set an interest here of PPC advertising, for example, click on enter, it might be a little bit more broad than just people who are interested in PPC advertising. It might create an interest group that's really going to try to target people who have shown any interest in marketing altogether, any interest in advertising altogether. It's not just going to be people who are actively running PPC ads or anything like that. So just something to keep in mind. You can add a bunch of different interests here. You can add URLs. So let's say I want people who are interested in surfsideppc.com. I could use other URLs, so let's say searchengineland.com, so that's a popular marketing website. So I can also add places, so any places where people would normally be. Now with marketing, this isn't going to be as relevant, but let's just say, for example, we'll remove these ones for now. Let's say, for example, we'll go back to our golf example. So place, when you click on it, you can see natural supermarket, gym, sporting goods store. I can click on golf, and it's going to say golf courses, country clubs. So if I do that, golf courses, country clubs, I can do resorts. So those 3 will generally be pretty related for people who are interested in golf. And then if I go to app, I can enter apps that they're going to be interested in. So you can see some examples: Google Fit, Google Maps. If I search golf, I can do Golf Rival. I can do Golf Logix, GPS, and Putline. So I can do Hole 19, a golf GPS app, rangefinder. So if I start creating some of these affinity audiences, I can make sure I'm reaching people who are going to be the most interested in what I have to offer. So affinity are more broad, so you can use these for more brand awareness, product consideration, those types of campaigns. You can try to drive leads and sales with affinity audiences, but what I would recommend doing is, and we're going to click on cancel here, all you need to do is click on create, and it's going to create custom affinity audiences for you. So what I would do is use custom intent. So with custom intent, you could either include people based on their in-market keywords or Google search terms. I generally use Google search terms, and all you need to do is enter search terms here. They usually recommend adding 50 plus search terms. You can take them directly from your campaigns. So if I click on cancel here, if I do farmhouse goals, custom intent, you can see here country decor, country home decor, farm home decor, farmhouse bathroom decor, farmhouse bookcases, farmhouse couches, farmhouse desks. So all these different keywords here, and it's going to create an audience of people that are going to be the most interested in these types of keywords, people that are most likely to go to Google and search these keywords. So if you go to Google and you start searching a couple of these keywords, you're probably going to be added to my custom intent audience. And what that means is it's really going to be targeted to people who are actively looking for products and services that you're selling. So if I'm trying to sell farmhouse decor, I can create this custom intent audience and then target it in my display campaigns and my video campaigns. So just some different options that you have there. Now, the last thing I want to go through, so we come back to our search campaign here. So when we're going through audiences and you can target different audiences, the other thing you can do with observation is you come to browse. You can use remarketing and similar audiences. So you can use either of these options, or you can use in-market audiences. So for farmhouse decor, what I can do is go to in-market audiences. Let's just say, for example, I come to farmhouse shelves. I click to add a new audience here. We're going to add it to the ad group level. And what I can do, I'm going to search shelves, and you can see there's an in-market audience for home storage and shelving. I can click on that audience, I can target that, and I can make sure I'm targeting people that are the most relevant that for the products and services that I'm advertising. So I can use these for all these different ad groups here. If I can find an in-market audience that's related to the different ad groups, so maybe I can find one for sinks, maybe I can find one for tables, maybe I can find, so I did find one for shelves. If I add more ad groups, I can continue to add these different in-market audiences here. Now, the other thing you can do is under demographics. So as you're running your search campaign, you're going to be able to see the ages that you're targeting. You can bid higher and lower on ages. You can see the genders that you're targeting. You could bid higher and lower on genders. You can see the household income that you're targeting. So let's say, for example, I just want to target the top 10% or the top 20%. I could just remove some of these different household incomes altogether from the ad group level. So just some different options that you have when you're creating your targeting and setting it up. Now, when it comes to demographics targeting, what I highly recommend doing is going to Google Analytics. So coming to audience here on the left hand side, going to demographics, and going to overview. So when you do that, you're going to be able to see how different demographics perform on your website, who the top demographics are. So just a quick overview. So generally people that are going to farmhousegoals.com are basically between 45 and 64, and it's 73% female. So that's just using the past week of data. I can put this all the way to February 1st, January 1st, and see what percentage of my users are in a specific age group, specific gender. Otherwise, you can come to interests here and you can look at affinity categories, in-market segments. They have other categories, but you can see some of the top in-market segments, and then you can incorporate those into your search campaigns, into your display campaigns, into your video campaigns. So as you're creating campaigns and setting them up, targeting audiences that perform the best for your business is going to really help you get the most out of your budget, whether you're using search campaigns, display campaigns, or video campaigns. So just keep that in mind. You want to make sure you're using this data from Google Analytics. You want to make sure you're creating audiences in your audience manager, creating remarketing audiences. You can create YouTube audiences. So really anything that you can use in your campaigns to help them perform better, help you drive more conversions is something you definitely want to take advantage of. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. This is our Google Ads audience targeting tutorial. We tried to cover pretty much everything that we could with interest audiences, demographics, remarketing, YouTube users. You can create customer lists so you can upload your email list. So there's so many different options. So you want to make sure you're taking advantage of all of them. But thank you for watching our video today, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.